What's going on, guys? MacDowan here, and today I would like to talk to you a little bit about Undecember, a poorly named game that I have been having a great deal of fun with the last couple days. Right off the bat, it is pay to win. I'm not at the end game yet, and so I'll be back with more videos detailing like when I hit the paywall and how that feels and all of that. But I don't feel like you would really have to spend any money to have a pretty good amount of fun. I did buy a $25 supporter pack type situation after I had played a few of the acts and decided that yes, I would be continuing the game up through at least the campaign. And as I've been playing it, there's quite a few little systems that I think are cool, and I thought it would be interesting to share my experience as a Path of Exile player coming to this game and seeing how it how it feels and so on and so forth. So the first thing that is fantastic is that particularly in town there is a lot of auto run features that you can use. So for example, if I want to do this quest here, if I click it, it's just going to take me over to where I need to go. I'm not going to go out there quite yet though. And then over here you have these two little boxes. I believe this is the chat. And then looks like there's quite a bit of spam going on there. And then here you can click if you want to go to the waypoint, it'll just take you there, or if you need to go to your storage, or your stash, whatever, it'll take you there. By default, you've just kind of got a couple of these little tabs, then they try and get some cash from you to add to them. And then I did with the diamonds, which is the real money currency that I got from that starter pack thing, I did buy the essence storage, which is the equivalent of the currency tab in Path of Exile. And then I don't want to get into systems or anything like that really, but there's basically all the orbs that you would expect. And in this game, as opposed to Path of Exile, you have to go over to the blacksmith, if I can find that. There we go. And then you kind of have this interface here where you can throw an item in, and then it shows you have to have the shit in your inventory unless you have the essence storage. And just like Path of Exile, there's lots of these things that create friction that you can then solve with a little bit of cash. And so again, as we go forward and I make more videos, I will comment more on how that stuff affects me as I get into the late game and maybe the early end game, stuff like that. But anyway, you just kind of you select the stuff here and do that. I think you can just straight up buy this stuff with money. And so again, I have no idea how the end game economy is going to be or anything like that. Or frankly, I actually don't even know if there is trading. I think I saw a thing that said auction house somewhere, but I don't know if that's a big part of the game or if this is mostly like a solo self-found with cash shop assistance type experience. But as of now, I bought the supporter pack. I'm going to go through to the end game and see what there is to see. So I really like the auto move feature, especially considering that for me it's often hard to find my way in the little town. Stuff gets cluttered and whatever. And so the skill tree is like you get 5 points per level, and I've just been throwing them into dexterity. And then I've just added a few points into the other two here and there as I wanted. No particular min-maxed build in mind or anything like that. And then as you go, then you start unlocking one of these points per level that lets you go into these other areas, and they unlock as you progress. Here's one that's HP and mana. Cat's going crazy in the background. And so yeah, you just kind of slot in your points. I'm going with like a bow type situation where I'm doing, let me see, I'll pull up the skill menu, which is actually pretty cool. So instead of the gear having links, the skills have links themselves. And so here's my main skill, this spread shot, which is essentially, it was the closest thing I could get to just like an AoE blast, where you just shoot a bunch of arrows type thing. And then I've got it linked up with faster proj, added fizz, added attack damage, faster attacks, quick attack, and then this convert cold. And then it's cool because you can use the same one and then it'll link with another skill, which is my sentry here. And then I linked that with life imbued sentry and precise sentry. So that's kind of cool. And then I've got my roll thing going on. And then this marksman skill is essentially just a little, 4-second buff that adds a bunch of damage. And so I've already got kind of a pretty decent character going. I figure let's run out here and I'll show you a little bit of gameplay and then send you on your way. I've had a blast so far. A lot of the systems are really fun. The gameplay is smooth. The controls are precise. And then here I'll show you probably my favorite feature. Well, two favorite features, which is the looting and the sort of like auto play feature. So if you push T, you'll just shoot whatever is your right click anytime there's enemies that you could shoot. And at first I was like, oh, that's pretty intense with the automation. But what ends up happening is I don't have to just spam. I don't have to be clicking all of the time. The pet is kind of picking up the loot, and I found that it's no less satisfying to see something rare drop on the ground, because it drops, you see it, the little pet here picks it up, and then you see it in a little like toast window over here that pops up and says what you got. So the looting has been pretty satisfying, and then I find that I can just kind of run, and then whenever I stop, I'm going to shoot. And then I can control sort of where I'm shooting at, and then I can dodge, and it ends up like for boss encounters and stuff, you're able to focus a lot more on the mechanics, and you can still stutter step. And then if I've got these sentries going on here, everything's getting slowed. I think this is like the equivalent of a shrine over here. Yep. I'm gonna pop my little cooldown here. You can set thresholds for your potions, which is fantastic. So that's another type, clicking type thing that they've eliminated. Put down a couple sentries here. Pop the cooldown. Talk to this guy. I don't care what he has to say. I'm going to complete that quest. And then you can click there and see, tells me where I need to go from my main quest. And yeah, I'm going to come back and do this on my own. I just wanted to pop in real quick and say, if you're on the fence, the game is free to start playing. And so, I mean, whether it's pay to win, I'm just kind of going into it with the idea that if it's really nasty towards the end game, I'll just quit playing. And I've heard people say that it's a pretty long campaign. And so even if you're not willing to spend a dime, I think you could probably have a lot of fun here. But for me, I threw in just a little bit of cash. I think $20-30 for a game I'm going to spend 20-30 hours playing is totally reasonable. And I'm just going to try and have an open mind, considering I need my Path of Exile fix, and Path of Exile is not in a state right now that I really want to play. And so I'm looking for something different. And so far, this has really been scratching the itch. So yeah, that's about all I've got for you today. If you're enjoying the content, please do hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. I appreciate you.